Hey everybody, my name is Taylor Gibson, and this is the Gr8Wyte Experience. Hey everybody, welcome to the Gr8Wyte Experience, the show where I talk about anything and everything of interest. My name is Taylor Gibson. Thank you for joining us. So for today's episode, I've decided that, instead of doing album reviews or certain other episodes I've done on the show, I've decided just to sit back and just shoot the shit with one of my closest friends that I've known for almost 10 years. And when I started the show, one of the first episodes I had in mind, I had to get this guy on the podcast, not only because I've known him for almost 10 years, but because of all the stories that we have from our days working together. Please welcome to the show, Trey Lavoie. Trey, how's it going, man? Welcome to the show.
Fucking huck it, chuck it, fucking football, buddy. I'm feeling good. Couple beers in, pretty stoned. So this will be interesting.
Yeah. So just like the casting couch videos, this is your first time you're making your first adult video?
Minus the plastic wrap. Oh
my god, I know. That casting couch, that's just greasy, isn't it?
I hope Katrina likes to wash out love stains, because that's what's about to happen.
So, for reference to what we're referring to, my girlfriend Katrina and her friend Desiree from Alberta is here this evening.
My stripper girl from Alberta, everybody.
Woo!
Fucking dollar bills, tooties and loonies up in that snatch.
Dollar bills, y'all. Just sitting on the couch, hanging out. Because, again, Trey, I mean, you and I, we've known each other for 10 years. And I was thinking about, where exactly do we start this podcast? So I think the best way to start is back from the beginning. First off, how did you come to work at the restaurant? Because you were a work experience kid, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. And then I went from there to a full-time position, and then I started working with Matt, Matthias, and you, and that's kind of how it started. I mean, fucking from there, it was, hey, no phones. But no, from there, it kind of just started, and we started chatting and hanging out and bullshitting, and I think the first time we talked was about WWE wrestling.
Sounds like what I would say.
Yeah, it was a Stone Cold Austin The Rock fucking quote.
Yeah.
And ever since that, we got lots of stories. The money shot. Jamie and is this what yours looks like?
The staff parties.
Fucking Gerald, the OG. Fucking getting puss when he's fucking 60. Just absolute stud.
Oh my god.
Oh god, there was so many stories.
Dude, and we got a whole episode to talk about that. And you know what's funny? When I first met you, it was back in 2013. It's almost been about 10 years now. And I first remember when I was a dishwasher at the restaurant, and I remember coming into the prep room. Because remember how, you had, you would come out of the kitchen into the back hallway.
Yeah.
You would take it right where, the washing machine dryer are. Take the first left, and you go to this little ramp that goes into the prep room. It was
literally just, an add-on. They added it on.
Pretty much.
Called it a prep room. But yeah, no, it was, it was great. Love that place. Pioneer House. R.I.P., by the way.
Yeah, unfortunately, how many years ago now did that?
That had to be 3 or 4?
Easy 4. Yeah.
Yeah, it was before COVID. I know that, but fucking, man, when you, I remember that day because you called me. You're like, yeah, Pioneer House is on.
Actually, it was the other way around. You called me.
I called you?
You called me, and I got a missed call, and then you called me right back, and you're like, dude, the fucking restaurant's on fire.
Oh, yeah, right. And then you're like, no, it's not. I'm like, dude, fucking look it up. It's a thing. And then, sure enough, it was actually true.
Yeah. And we'll get to that story later on in this episode. But go back to what I was saying about when I first met you. I remember, like, you were, what, 18 at the time?
I was young.
Yeah, you were
I think
in high school. You were still in high school at the time.
17. It was my grad year when I started working there. I remember that because I asked for time off, and it was fucking hilarious because they wanted me to work, but Matt, our boss at the time, was like, you know what? I never went to my grad, so you go. And yeah, no, it was fucking a great time.
Sorry, guys, I'm just moving the mic closer to us.
Got absolutely loaded. My buddy Sean, who had a weird Tom Selleck mustache kink, was fucking obliterated. The goddamn.
Do you want to tell that story first? Do you want to tell that first story?
I don't even know how it came up. We were talking about, like, just men with mustaches, and I said Burt Reynolds. Like, you know, Burt Reynolds, Smokey and the Bandit. He's got the car, the cowboy hat, the stash, like a young Sally Fields, and he was like, man, I love, like, a young Tom Selleck and, like, Magnum P.I. with just the absolutely full duster. And he's like, you know what? Mustache rides from him would have been fun, and I think we were at the bar, and, like, everybody just kind of, like, went quiet and was like, do you say mustache rides from Tom Selleck? And, like, every kind of since then, it's just been, like, a thing. It's just been a thing for, like, 10 years it's been a thing. And then, like, we started talking about it at work, and, you know, work was a great place to fucking let loose, have fun, but also do your job.
Yeah.
And we had lots of fun times, you know, explaining insanely gross, filthy, degrading things to, like, Mark.
Oh my god. I love Mark, man. Mark was a beauty. You know what? One of my all-time favorite memories of Mark is, I remember we were on the line working one day, and Mark was doing something really quickly. He finished really quickly, and he just looks at everyone and goes, you know what, guys? Yeah, that's the money shot. Now, I gotta understand about Mark. Mark is he's
such an innocent guy.
He's so innocent. He
innocent.
didn't understand what exactly a money shot was. He just said money shot, and the entire kitchen burst out laughing. It was like, you, myself, Matthias was there, Matt was there. Everyone just bursted out laughing.
I remember I was grabbing some, like, plates over from the dish pit from you. And I remember when Mark said that, Matthias looked at me, and his eyes were so wide. He's like, what the hell? Like, it was one of those looks that you can't ever forget. And then the fact that everybody was just kind of laughing, and then Matt was actually the one that explained it to him. Was like, Mark, like, do you know what that means? He's like, oh, it just means, like, you know, good times and fun. It's like, no, the money shot's when, like, a guy, you know, lands on a girl's face, like, at the end of the
he's
porno,
just like,
and it's like he just went.
The look on his face was like,
he just went white as a ghost. It was like, oh, and like he'd been saying it for what? Like, he said it a few times prior, and we just didn't have the heart to tell him because he was such a nice guy.
God, Mark was such a great guy, man. He's one of those dudes that you always love having him around because you're absolutely right. He was such an innocent dude. Like, he didn't even really drink, did he?
No, he didn't drink at all. He was like, I don't know. He was like he was like Michael Cera. If that makes any sense to anyone. He was like an innocent older Michael Cera. Just so adorable, but like so innocent.
I know. Remember how he used to he was always like full gear in everything he did? Remember, like, you would see him come out of the back into the kitchen, and he was just, like, almost speed walking, and you're just like, dude, how do you have that much energy? He goes, man, I just like being here.
He'd work, like, 12, 16-hour days, and just, like, he'd start at, like, 4 in the morning, every morning, and then be, like, work all day, and then be like, okay, well, I'm, like, gonna go home. It's like, yeah, man. It's like, go do whatever. It's like, you've been here for, like, you know, 2 shifts pretty much. It's like, go spend time with the, like, wife and kids. Like,
yeah. Well, you know what's funny? I always assumed he was one of the managers. But apparently it was Matt.
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure it was, like, Matt and Mark. It was, like, cooperative thing.
Was that what it was?
Yeah, but
Excuse me, sorry.
Desiree.
My stripper girl's coughing in the background.
It's okay, we still love her. But anyway, talking about Mark, I mean, yeah, Mark was such a great guy, and his wife Tina worked at the restaurant too. She was great. I like Tina.
No, Tina was great.
You know, my favorite time of the week always was when the days that we got paid, because remember they had that shelf right before you go into the restaurant itself, that big bucket that had all of her checks in it, and she came around with like was it Ziploc bags or those little snack Ziploc bags
with the fucking tips
with our tips in it. I always remember that because she's like, "Oh hey Taylor, here's your tips for the week." And I was like, "Oh thanks Tina."
Oh no, it was great. Yeah, no, just sorry, I got a text dealer message. But yeah, no, those were the days, man. Like as weird as it sounds, like I'm an LPN now. I was a plumber before. But
and a chef.
And a chef.
You're basically you're almost like a half-black version of Johnny Sins.
Yeah, but the average size penis. Not like hung like an absolute stallion, right?
Right.
Right.
One of my favorite memes recently is it was a picture of Johnny Sins. I think it was Lisa Ann, and the caption was, if you don't think a 38-year-old man going back to university is inspiring, you have no soul.
Yeah, no, like, fucking Johnny Sins is the man, and, like...
He seems like he'd be a cool dude to hang out with.
Do you know who else is the man? It's fucking Mark from Pioneer House.
Oh my god. Yeah, Mark, who is not Johnny Sins.
I mean, dude, honestly, Mark,
he's innocent enough. He would surprise a few people.
Yeah, no, like, I feel like Mark's, like, the jack of all trades. Kind of like Johnny Sins,
Exactly.
Fucking astronaut, plumber, electrician, doctor,
An aerospace
also,
marine biologist.
Yeah, massage therapist, work out your girl's kinks, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And by kinks, I mean P in the V,
I remember, actually, one of the funny things about Mark, you perfectly described him. He was very much a jack of all trades. Because I remember one day I came to work, because I started work at 10 in the morning. I came to work one day, that entire back hallway where like all of our uniforms and all the stuff, he had painted the floor. He rolled all that out by hand in the morning.
Yeah.
And I got there and it was all perfectly painted. I remember looking at him like, "Hey, that back hallway looks great." He's like, "Yeah, thanks, man. I did that this morning." I was like, "You did that?" He's like, "Yeah."
No, he worked hard. Like, everybody there worked hard. We had, like, Steve, surprisingly, the conspiracy theorist.
Steph was great, man. I haven't seen Steph in probably 6 years. I went to last time I saw him, I went to a SNFU concert with him. I got a funny story about that. Okay, so SNFU, they're a legendary punk band from Vancouver.
Yeah.
Formed in the late 80s. They're originally from Edmonton, but they really
And if you don't know them, look them up, you bitches.
Yeah, they are pretty good. They got some great songs. So anyway, their lead singer, Chai Pig, the now late Chai Pig, is openly gay. And so I thought, oh, that'd be really cool to like say hi to him or whatever after the show. So after the show, Steph went back to the car. I went to say hello to him, and he fucking hit on me. Which is weird because, like, I was a bigger guy. Like, I shouldn't say I'm not a bigger guy now, but I was a big guy back then.
Dude, you should have fucking, like, sucked some dong. That would have been a story.
Dude, he, like, caught and I was just like this. I had my arm like this. He grabbed my bicep like this, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to do a Jaeger shot?" And I was like,
"You're like, fuck yeah."
I know. I thought about it. I was like,
you wake up and your butt hurts in the morning. Totally worth it.
Well, could you imagine trying to explain that and be like, "What happened, Tay? Why are you not sitting down?" I mean, I was hanging out with the lead singer of a legendary punk band last night, and one thing led to another, and here we are. But, yeah, I remember just being like, "No, I gotta go. My friends wait for me." And I got back to the car, I sit down, and Steph looks at me and goes, "Are you okay?" And I looked at him, I was like, just like we were in, I looked at him, I was like, "Dude, Chai Pig just fucking hit on me." And he looks at me and he goes, No.
Yeah,
Honestly,
no
dude,
way.
everybody knows that Chai Pig has a thing for bears.
I mean, hey, let's be honest. There's no proof, right? It's just like hearsay. Do you have proof? Like, did you get his number? Like, I mean, come on.
I didn't, and that was the thing. And even when he passed away, I think he passed away during COVID of 2020. I thought about that. I was like, man, like that was at the time. It was only 4 years previous.
I mean, like, nothing wrong with that. I mean, it would have been a great story. Like, you know, if you got his number and be like, yeah, he was hitting on me. He gave me his number.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no. Like, I miss, like, there's so many stories we have with, like, people at the Pioneer House. Like, I mean, we had Raffy.
Oh my god.
With the fucking, I don't know why. I don't know how it came up. But, like, there was one day where I said something.
Well, first of all, let's crack a beer to Raffy.
I mean, Raffy bomb.
Raffy bomb.
No, but like, there's so many fucking things that were said there that was like, I don't know. Nowadays, it kind of seems like, you know, HR would be up our asses. But
Thank God we didn't have an HR at the restaurant.
I think it was Tina.
There's Tina at the HR. I think Tina would probably just listen to what had been said, and she would just look at us and be like, "Really, guys?"
Yeah, but like, you know,
But that's about it. That's
like,
if it was Vanessa. Vanessa would have pee slapped us.
We literally talked about having like a circle jerk and a cooler once, and I invited one of the waitresses.
Was
Just
it
like-
Maddie?
No, it was Bean.
I don't think it was Bean. I think it was Maddie. I
don't remember.
I believe it was Maddie because Maddie came in
right.
and you looked over and you was like, "Hey, Maddie, yeah." Hey, listen, the boys and I are going to have a circle jerk in the fridge. You want to come join us? And she's just like, ew, Trey.
Like, I said it jokingly, but, like, and then the best part about all of it, like, you know, not only is it, like, an HR-related scenario, but, like, fucking our dishwasher, Raffy, was like, I'll bring the tip. And that's what just made it so much better.
He showed up for his shift.
Yeah.
And he just walked into that and said it. And the whole kitchen, we just started laughing. It was one of those you couldn't time perfectly.
Like, just like he had he had so many good things to say, that kid. Like, what was the other one? He's like, I'm gonna fuck these dishes clean. Like,
yes.
Just like the shit he said was like, it was so fucking random but so funny. And then like, you know, like I say, like it's like some of the shit we said in the kitchen was just like so fucking like absurd and out there, but like we got so many laughs.
It's true, and that's why we're sitting here doing this podcast, because, you know, and again, we're going to go through this episode, we're going to mention a number of stories that we have on the top of our heads. I do have one really good one about Raffy, though. So, this is back in 2012, so you hadn't been working there, you were still in high school. We had a summer party at Deb's one time.
Oh my god, Deb was she was a beauty.
Deb was a beauty, and you know what?
Hardcore.
Yeah, she was. And it's funny, like, her husband, farmer, and her dad lived at the place that they lived at, and her son, Damien, I think it's Damon. Yeah, I think it's Damon, who's, unfortunately, he's in prison right now, but that's not the point. Anyway, so we were at a summer party at her place, and I was about 20. I was 20 at the time. So keep in mind, like, I didn't go, unlike you, I didn't go to house parties, I didn't go to any of that shit when I was growing up. I didn't start drinking until I was 19.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm 20, and I'm just like, yeah, this is going to be great, man. My 20s are going to be awesome. I had all this, I think I was drinking kokanee at the time because I didn't really drink. So I got there right, Deb was just like, yeah, this party starts at whatever time. So I show up right at the time it starts.
Nice.
Nobody's there. It's
Yeah,
just me, so I start drinking.
You never go to a party early or on time. Like, that's just like party 101. Like, I've been to parties where I've showed up like 2 hours like later and it's just starting to get good.
Yeah. But keep in mind, like I said, I didn't drink until I was 19. I didn't go to parties in high school and shit.
Yeah.
So this is all new to me. So anyway, we go to her place for a party, and Rafi was there, and Alex Santos.
Oh, fuck.
Remember that kid?
That was the guy that was weirdly obsessed with me.
Oh, wait, you got to tell that story in a bit. But anyway, so I remember, and I was absolutely shit-faced. I'll never forget this. And we were at their place, and just like this, like I'm sitting in a lawn chair, I'm just hammered, and I'm looking over at Rafi and Alex, so I'm like, hey, guys, whatever. Hold on a second. And I start throwing up next to me, like on the left of me. I stop, and I just go, okay, anyway, so where I was, oh, yes, right. Rafi, by the way, I'm going to need that gum. So anyway, and I continue with the story, and Alex and Rafi just look at me like,
dude,
what the fuck?
You've had so many moments where you've thrown up, and it's just like such a casual thing that it's like, oh, like, he's fine. Like, there was the time where we left that one at Gerald's friends, and with the owner.
Pete, that was this guy's name, Pete Angelo.
And we fucking went to the cab, and like, where the tape, it was me and Phil.
Yeah.
Me, you and Phil was like, Taylor, are you good? You're like, yeah, I'm fine. And then you're like, like beside, like.
I was on the other side of the road.
Yeah, and then like you just walk back. You're like, well, so when's the cab gonna be here?
It was funny. It was like, because what I remember is that I was throwing up on the other side of the road. The cab comes around the corner, and you're just yelling at me, Tay, the cab's coming. Okay, I'm good. Let's go.
And then we got in the cab, and the fucking cab driver's wearing a Detroit Lions jersey.
It was a Calvin Johnson one.
Yeah, like,
and as soon as all three of us piled in, and I have like the back passenger side, and I just see the guy in the going, "Hi, is that a Lions jersey you're wearing?" He's like, "Yeah." Why the fuck would you want to cheer for that shit franchise? You guys had two fucking franchise players that retired in their prime.
I mean, they had Matthew Stafford, but he didn't like win anything until he went to LA. But
and then he's shit. Now he's injured now.
Oh yeah,
dude, they have Baker Mayfield now.
Hey,
the Christmas Day when you have cooked Russell Wilson and Baker Mayfield.
You gotta believe.
And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to quickly interrupt. We have ice cream on the dock.
Yeah. Wait, can I get some?
Absolutely. And this is great because we're going to have live podcasting here in the living room as we have ice cream coming to us. Awesome. Thanks, bitch.
Wait, is that a large?
You are large.
I thought I hit medium.
Jesus Christ, Trey. You're going to go through diabetic shock before you know it.
That's okay. My stripper girl will take care of me. That's Taylor. You left, so it's Taylor now.
I want it to be Taylor. My ice cream's melted.
Yeah, no, this is pretty melted. Well, yeah, because you live up like half a mountain.
And a half. Or a hill, as I call it.
Mmm.
Taylor, it's like, we're gonna go, like, or whatever. It's like, up the hill? He's like, the mountain.
Anyway, yeah, so I remember that cab ride. It was funny because I went to work the next morning, and Bean, Janelle Carone, sees me the next morning. She looks at me, she goes, "Hey, Tay, how you feeling?" And I just look at her. I was like, I gave her that look up and like, fuck off, Bean.
That's why I loved working nights, because you could get absolutely obliterated, and you didn't have to go into work till later. It wasn't right away. So, like, you had the time to recover. Not like you, where you go in. Like, you know how many people threw up in the Pioneer House bath, like the staff bathroom, from, like, hungoverness?
I can imagine. But, dude, you know what I remember? We're talking about Bean. Bean was great. I really liked working with Bean. I remember the one time she went to Victoria. I think she had one of her friends. Like, I guess she went party with one of her friends the night before. She comes to work. She parked next to me, and she kind of just sits in her driver's seat like this. She kind of looks over to me, and she's, you know how you have your back forward, your head's kind of tilted right, and she rolls down her window, and she just goes, I don't want to work today, Taylor. I'm hungover.
There were so many people that would come over.
Anderson.
Like, there was that one time I did, and I threw up in the bathroom. And I was just like, today's gonna be a good. And then, like, after that, I was fine, but I was like, my head was ringing. And, like, everybody's like, is Trey hungover? And I was like, yeah.
Yep. Yes, you were.
Dude, those were the best days.
They were. And you know what the funny thing, when I look back on those days, Trey, is that when you look at the core of young people that work there, from, like, you, myself, Bean, Chantel, Noli, Anderson, Devin, like, the main crew, right?
Yeah.
There was only, what, maybe 3-4 years separating all of us?
Oh, yeah.
If that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I think it was about that.
3-4 years. Because me and Devin grew up in Port Alice together. So, what am I? Yeah, no. It's about right. But yeah, no, there were so many great moments, like fucking Jamie.
Oh god. Okay, we gotta talk about Jamie. Jamie was one of those kids who he was Mark's nephew, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was Mark's nephew.
The
Jamie
man
was
nephew.
one of those kids, like he was a theater kid. You can definitely tell. He was into like tap dancing and stuff like that. And one of my biggest memories of Jamie was that he came in and he was, what, maybe 16? He had to have been
Like 17.
if that. He had
Yeah,
to be
he was-
just
he
a
was
teen
young.
kid, right? And he
Yeah.
came into the restaurant, and you were in the prep room. Matthias was in the prep room. I walked in the prep room, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, boys," because we had the divider that separated. It was like the part of the wall that separated the back hallway from the prep room.
Yeah.
And he's up there fucking humping it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, boys, you like what you say?"
One of my favorites when you get every object that was like shaped like a penis.
Yeah.
Even like French fries. Like you couldn't like anything that was long or like short or like, shaped like a dick. He would fucking be like, is this what yours is like? We would laugh every time, and it's like this happened for so long.
You know what I remember? When he would do that, there was occasions, because you mentioned we used to laugh, there was occasions we just looked at him so stone-faced, and we had no reaction. We just looked at him and like, really, Jamie? You know what he reminded me of? He reminded me of, like, that little kid when he has, like, older siblings and he wants to try to fit in and be cool with them. He would try to do anything to be cool with us.
It reminded me of like Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
Just like don't get score. Or just like you know what I mean? Except for it was like more like, is this what yours is like? Like
Yeah.
yeah, no, that fucking kid, like he was
a good
funny.
worker though.
Oh, he worked his ass off and he was so funny. Like he would like hide around corners with like a loaf of bread and be like, is this what your dick's like?
And do you remember McKinnon?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember one time.
So what?
Yeah, she was. I remember McKinnon was working one day, and Jamie came around the corner, and
Did you think it was one of us?
Jamie was 100% staring at her tits, and McKinnon gave him shit. They're like, "Are you staring at my tits, Jamie?" And he's like, "No." And I'm standing behind him going, "For fuck's sake, Jamie, why are you staring at her tits? She's not a piece of meat, man.
Oh,
You treat her with some respect."
That's okay. That was like that Danielle chick where like her ass literally distracted me.
Oh my god, I know. It's funny because you and I were talking about this earlier when we were putting together this idea for a podcast. Is I do remember Danielle. I was the complete opposite of you guys. I didn't think she was all that hot.
She had a nice ass, man. That's literally it. Shit for brains, Fucking $1 million legs, fucking 10-cent brain, her ass. I just got you know.
You could tell she was putting in the leg days.
I got distracted like one time.
This is one of my
It
favorites.
was just like all fucking never-ending joke to like, hey Trey, Danielle's not here. Why are you fucking up? And it would just be like, it's like, shut up. She's attractive. You know, it's like I was also fucking young, so.
Yeah, you were. So I'm thinking, because when I left in 2015, so you would have been...
I was 2 years out of high school.
20. You were 20 when I left, and yeah, Danielle was around that time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, remember the time, like, with you and Bean, and she didn't notice you guys went to school together?
Okay, keep in mind, I didn't know that we went to school together, because it's funny, because, like, all of, like, okay, going back to what I was saying about, like, the young core of people that worked at the restaurant, like I was saying, you, myself, Bean, Chantal, whatever, 99% of everybody that worked there all went to Francis Kelsey. There was 2 of us who went to Cal High. It was Bean and it was myself, and we were in the same grad class.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I remember how this came up because I was at home one day. I just happened to... I don't know how the fuck it happened. You alright? Good.
I'm good.
Excellent.
Just choking on some Blizzard, yo.
Oh my god, what kind of blizzard did you get anyway?
I think it was like peanut butter cup with caramel.
Dude, I got the square one. You want to try it?
No.
Okay, good.
No, scoop. Yeah, you want some? Ah, fuck you. No.
Fuck you too, Trey. But yeah, I remember, I don't know how the fuck this came up, was that I was going through some of my stuff at home and I found some of my old high school yearbooks. The only reason I have those is because my aunt worked at the high school and she bought them for me because I would have not bought them
Yeah.
if it was up to me. And so anyway, I bought the one from, my aunt had one for my grad year. And I'm looking through it and I happened to come, no, it was the year before I graded. In the grade 11 class, I saw Janelle Corona, and I was like, Janelle Corona? And I immediately thought, wait a second, this is 0910, like, this is my grade 11 year. So I grabbed the year, my certificate, and I had the picture on the back that has, like, the entire grad class, and she was in the dead middle.
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
And then you, like, I remember you coming to work and be like, we were in the same grad class.
No, I was the one who brought that up because she asked me one time. She's like, "Hey Tay, did you go to Like, I don't know how she brought this up. Did you go to Francis Kelsey or something?" And I was like, "No, actually, I was a Cal High grad, and I was actually in the same grad class you were, Bean."
Talk about fucking awkward.
I know, and she's just like, "Oh my god, did you seriously?" I was like, "Yeah."
Awkward.
Yeah, it was funny. Like it was only her and I, and we were both both Cal High grads.
Well, it's like me and Devin grew up together in Port Alice.
Yeah.
Then like Noli, Janelle, like we all went to Kelsey, and we all like knew each other, like from like friends and like family, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty much an island thing, though.
Yeah.
Because I mentioned this to you earlier today. Chris Collins.
Yeah.
Great guy. Loved working with him. Loved having him around. He was a great guy. His dad worked at the school that I used to work at. He was a security guard.
Yeah, no.
And I didn't realize that he was Chris's dad for like the longest time.
Which is funny because I didn't know that. Like, and I've met his dad and mom a few times.
Yeah.
Because they were friends with my aunt and uncle. And, like, you know, we've hung out a few times, like, you know, for, like, fires and dinners and stuff. So when you said that, I was like, that's fucking hilarious. Because I didn't even know he worked down there as a security guard.
Mm-mm. I remember when Bob first started working at the school. Because I don't know if he was RCMP or where the fuck he was.
Mm-hmm.
First day he shows up, I never forgot this. The guy who became one of our sous chefs. He says, "Yeah, that Bob guy showed up in a bulletproof vest, handcuffs. Like he looked like he was like a member of SWAT,
Hardcore.
right?"
It's like,
And it was one of those things. It was like, dude, you're a security guard at a fucking school. All you need is a flashlight.
what, fucking Paul Blart? Like,
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it's Canada. Like, you're right. Like, you don't need like an M16 or anything. What are we, fucking America? What is this?
Not really.
School shooting every 5 minutes. Man, like, fucking. It's just like, I love how people were like, oh, like handcuffs and a bulletproof vest. It's like, man, it's like, you gotta be prepared for anything, but just like, you know, don't prepare to be shot with like an assault rifle.
Yeah.
Maybe like a 22, 3 12 gauge.
I mean, it depends on the state, really, but
Yeah, I mean, you never know, but yeah, no. Fucking Chris, I love Chris.
Chris,
was like,
Collie was great. I love Chris. Excuse me. No, Chris was one of those. He was just one of those kids that.
Oh, he was also like Matt's. Wasn't he like Matt's like stepbrother?
Was he?
Yeah, him and Matt were related somehow, and I forget how. But like him and Matt would fucking bicker. I think they were related somehow. I just forget. But like him and Matt would like argue like siblings all the fucking time. Like Matt would be like, "Stop hitting on the girls," and then Chris would be like, "Fuck you, Matt, I'm young." Matt would be like, "Okay, get some fucking work done, then flirt with them." And then they just go like back and forth, and then like there was like Matt with that fucking what's her nuts. Which we like, it's gonna bug us for like the rest of eternity.
That cook that he hired, he had a huge crush on.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? I hadn't thought about that in years until you came over today, and we were just sitting here bullshitting, and I brought that up, and you're looking at me going like, "Oh my god, I totally remember that chick."
Yeah. Fuck, what was her name? And then she like left, and he was just like mad for like a couple weeks.
Oh, he was crushed.
And then there was Pickles.
Yeah. Oh my god. I remember one of her last days is that you remember how on the line itself, like the grill line,
Yeah.
you know how up above they used to have the fryer basket sitting up there?
Yeah.
She took one of those to the head. I never forgot that. It fucking
Oh, yeah.
fell and hit her.
And she was like, I'm fine. And then she was just...
Then she just dropped and started crying. And then one of our servers, whom I don't remember who she was, her boyfriend was like a first date attendant, just fucking showed up in the back.
Yeah.
And as we're like closing up, and we're like, what the fuck?
No, man, that was a pretty heavy blow to the noggin. But yeah, man, there were so many people that we like. There was like John Henry, fucking loved that kid. He was hilarious. There's like Brendan, aka Baby Shawanda.
Was he one of the servers?
No, he was one of the dishwashers, but he was
I can remember that kid.
he was so funny, man. And it's like, how did you come up with the name Baby Shawanda? And I was like, I don't even know. You guys just started calling me that, and like I just went with it. There was like Keegan, which was like Bean's cousin, or
yeah. Okay, I do remember Keegan.
Matt and Matthias called them Kegels all the time, like Kegel exercises.
Yeah.
There was also Tyson, Phil.
Oh my god, my buddy Phil. I love that guy.
Phil.
Phil is like, when we hired Phil, that made 3 people from our grad class. Because Phil and I were friends in high school.
Yeah.
And I remember he was looking for a job. And I said, well, dude, we're always looking for dishwashers. Why don't you come down to the restaurant and apply? I showed up to work one day, and he got hired on the spot. So I was the guy training him, and I'm like, what the hell?
Oh man, remember he's like his gag reflex?
Yeah.
Like everything he would like, because at some point they had like the grease trap was so messed up in the pee house.
Oh god.
That you'd have to like, you remember that where you'd have to like turn the cap and like the water would come out. And I remember my first day with Phil was fucking him cleaning that, and he was like, yeah, yeah, and me and Matt tried really hard not to laugh because it was like
it felt kind of bad.
It felt kind of bad, but it was also like, oh man, it was gross. It was so gross, and just like Mark would be like, Jesus, just get your hands in there, and it just it was so gross. Good times.
Good times. So here's a name that you're gonna definitely remember for sure. Michelle Battle.
Oh my god, from Ladysmith?
Yep. Remember how she used to make that drive every day?
AKA Rocket.
Oh my god, yeah, Michelle was
So hot.
Yeah, she was. You know what's funny is that I was actually at a party for one of my old coworkers. Surprisingly, the week COVID hit.
Yeah.
It's like a few days after COVID hit, when like basketball games and everything got shut down. They were doing a garage party at their place.
Yeah.
I ran into Michelle. She saw me and she's like, "Hey, wait a minute! I know you." She couldn't remember my name. She said, "We started Pioneer House, right?" And as soon as I saw her, I was like, "Holy fuck, Shell! What are you doing here?"
It's like the Gr8Wyte Buffalo. Gr8Wyte Buffalo.
I know, and I actually saw her boyfriend Nick. Remember that Nick dude she used to talk about? And I was always assuming with Michelle, Nick was probably what, 6'4"?
Yeah.
6'3". The way that she described him, I saw him. He was shorter than I am.
Yeah.
Like I'm about 5'11", 6 feet.
Telling me.
He's about 5'9", and I remember looking at him just like, "You're Nick."
God, there was Michelle, Mariah. Mariah was great.
Yeah.
What was that one girl?
Dude,
Nicole.
Oh, that's who was. She the one. She was the kind of
crazy.
That's who I was thinking of the other day when we were talking about this. Yeah, no, okay, Mariah. I ran into her at the bank years ago, and she just got out of a massage, and I think she was super high.
God,
She's
dude.
like, "Hey man, yeah, sorry man, I'm a little loopy. I just came out of a massage." I was like, all right, that's cool.
Dude, like, yeah, no. It was like Michelle and Mariah for like being older, very hot.
And they were only like, I think Michelle was only 10 years older than I was.
Yeah. But yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
Times.
It's such a good times, man. I mean, there's so many other servers that we didn't talk about. I mean,
Oh man, there's so many.
who do we even start with? That's the only thing, is we worked with so many. I mean,
yeah, like
you had Noli, you had Chantel, you had Devin, you had...
what's her name? God, what was her name? She was like the cousin, Leah. Remember her? She was like Mark's niece. She was like the blonde model, and like we're like, how are you related to any of these? Like,
I mean, name sounds familiar?
yeah, it's like she's one of those girls that like, fuck.
Yeah. I mean, there's, like, let's name a few off the top of my head. Well, you mean Noli. Noli was such a sweetheart, man, which we worked with her. She was one of those chicks that you definitely know outside of work she'd be down to fucking party, though.
Yeah, there was also like, Noli dated my buddy Mark Yakko.
I remember that
Dude.
she had a boyfriend throughout the entire time I worked there.
Mark is
Not once did I ever hear her ever mention this dude's
dude,
name,
Mark.
mention him, or mention the fact she had a boyfriend.
like, honestly, me and Mark, like her ex now, like, me and him are, like, such good friends. Like, he's such a funny guy, and I don't know why they broke up, because, like, he's the funniest dude I ever met. Like, there was one time we got really stoned, and, like, we were gaming, we were playing a video game, I don't even know what one, but he's like, Trey, I'm really stoned, and I was like, yeah, he's like, this pizza that I'm about to put in the oven, he's like, the oven is a black guy, and the pizza's my butt. Just like, so stoned, like, the funniest shit, and, like, I never till this day, like, I still haven't found out why they broke up, because, like, he was such a great dude, and, like, oh, fuck, like...
Well, maybe it was one of those things there where it should have been kept between them, right?
Yeah, but, like, come on, like, Nolly talked about everything, except for him.
It was true, I do remember that, but you know what's funny? I think the last time I saw Noli was probably... trying to think of how many years ago. This is over 5 years now.
Yeah.
I was leaving the game store on one of the game stores in Victoria. I think it was like West Saanich.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget. Like, I'll never forget fucking. I was just like at a red light, and I look over, and all you hear is Taylor. And I look over, and there's Noli with one of her friends, like, yo, what's going on, man?
Dude, those are the days. So many good stories.
It is so many.
We got to do a part 2.
We do. And you know what, Trey? We're actually going to include this in the episode. So we're going to take a really quick break here in the Gr8Wyte experience and come back with part 2 of this episode.
Noise.
Coming right back. All right, we are back for part 2 of this episode. Trey, is there anything you want to start off the episode with?
Go Bolts, baby.
Okay, so I believe that there's actually a story behind you saying that, so I feel like you should tell it right now.
Game 7, Toronto, Tampa, don't like either, and it's Game 7, and fucking Leafs doing what they do best.
Blowing
it like fucking Epstein, you know what I mean? Taylor's face right now, priceless. Anyways, so I'm seeing this girl.
I would have taken it. I would have accepted also Mia Khalifa or Lisa Ann, by the way.
Cobain.
Allegedly.
So anyways, watching the hockey game, Game 7, fucking, this girl I was seeing at the time wanted to have sex, and I did not. And where, like, she's like, no, come on, it'll be fun. So she, like...
Come on, it'll be fun.
She, like, mounts me on the couch. And I'm watching the game while also having, like, intercourse. And I'm just like, man, like, I'm more focused. There's 5 minutes left in the third. It's like Tampa's up by 1. And I'm just like, man, like, I want to see how this plays out. And she's, like, on top. And, you know, Nick Paul of the Tampa
he does it all.
Scores the, like, I think it was, like...
It was 2-1. Yeah, Tampa won that game 2-1, I remember.
And he scored, and at that exact moment, it was like, we both came, but at that exact moment, I said, go Bolts.
It was more of a, go Bolts!
Yeah, you know, I had my fucking vinegar shirt saying go Bolts, but, like, I mean, can you blame me? Like, I said, yeah, I just wasn't in the mood, and I wanted to watch the game, like, see how this played out, but, you know, it was, I guess, you know, her getting her rocks off is more important. But Nick Paul, shout out Nick Paul.
Former Ottawa Senator,
Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah.
Weird as this sounds, I've nutted the exact same time you've scored.
Yeah, and you know what, though? It's funny because that 6th game, it was in Tampa Bay. I never forgot. I was taking a piss at work. I had the game on my phone. Tampa Bay scored no OT, and I hear, yes! And I'm banging on the walls going, let's go Tampa! We game 7, baby! And somebody was outside waiting for me to open the door, and she got startled.
Yeah, dude, it was such a big thing, like, just because they were on, like, you know, the repeat.
3-peat.
No, the 3-peat,
No, it was on their 3-peat run.
Was it?
Yeah, it was last year.
No.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Tampa played Toronto in the first round last year.
Okay, so, like, yeah, it was big stuff, you know? But, yeah, I never would have thought I would have come the same time Nick Paul scored a goal. Talk about, like, timing, you know? And, like, fuck, there was, like, a full 20 minutes of hockey left. So, like, good for me, because, like, you know, you gotta take into consideration commercial breaks.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you know.
Yeah. All that airtime that it wasn't devoted to the sports setting.
So it's like, ladies out there, it's not a one and done. Get through, like, 20 minutes of hockey.
Right? Be like Nick Paul does it all.
Yeah.
Now, let's get back to what we were saying earlier. I mean, with some of the people that we used to work with, is there anybody off the top of your head that you want to...
Anderson.
Janelle Anderson? Okay.
Like, I knew her because she knew my cousins. But also...
Am I going to have to edit any of this shit out? The more that I think about this that we've been recording, the more I'm like, how much of this am I going to have to edit out?
Dude, you may have to edit lots. like,
or am I just going to be like,
like,
let's see chaos happen.
Like, we're just like, there's like, what? There's the fucking Gerald and what's her nuts? Michaela.
No, we never told that story.
Oh, they, you know, like, that's coming up. Like,
Yeah.
you fucking be the judge.
Oh, G and Gerald? Or G and Kayla?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking, that was funny. Because do you know how many of the girls, other waitresses, were like, they're like, Michaela, you can't do this. You can't do this. And Gerald was like so messed up. He's like, I don't fucking care. He's like, I'm old.
Didn't G have a wife or something at the time?
Yeah, but like, you know, like, Gerald's like upgrading. But, you know, he probably didn't give a fuck. I mean, the dude did so much with his life.
Yep.
His actual, like, his first wife, TJ's mom, MILF.
Yeah?
Sorry, Gerald. But I mean, like, good for you, TJ. Your mom's banging, dude. By the way, it's Taylor Gibson saying that.
Oh, fuck gosh. I wish I could fucking say that about his wife, but... Yeah, I do remember, like, we had a staff party at Gerald's friend's place. Remember that night? That was the night in earlier this episode I was talking about when you, Phil, and I got the cab back. That was that night.
Oh, God.
And again, that was that night where...
Fuck nowhere.
Yeah, it was in the middle of, like, Salem, I think, somewhere.
I just got off work.
And I was... Remember how hammered I was when you got there? Like, Trey, what's happening, buddy?
Oh, dude, there's like...
Dude, I think I almost fucking bailed at your feet when I saw you come up the driveway. I was like, oh, fuck, it's Trey. I started running towards you and I almost tripped.
Dude, you were hammered.
Yeah.
You were hammered. And then, like, we got, like, Phil said, oh, I bet you can't get one of the girls' numbers. So I, like, went up and I was like, hey, Alicia, like, I promise you I won't call you. So she gave me her number and I ran back and Phil was like, wow, that was quick.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember, like, the next morning after that party, I woke up and I had, like, Alicia's number, Kayla gave me her number. But it was like, Alicia gave me her number, Kayla gave me her number.
She was just
a bunch of friggin' servers we worked with gave me their numbers. And I'm looking at my phone like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I remember, like, one of these people giving me their number.
Yeah.
And I came to you the next day. I was like, Trey, do you have any idea how these people, like, how these numbers got my phone? He goes, yeah, don't you remember? You bugged everybody all night about it.
Yeah, dude, it was like fucking Twilight Zone. Taylor woke up and was like, oh my god, there's all these women in my phone.
Yeah, right?
Classics. Yeah, there was like Anderson. God, there was Bean.
Yeah.
so many stories. I don't know if we can talk about those.
I don't know, man. That's the thing, and
Like,
I don't.
They're out there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, maybe we should call it because those are the stories.
Those are the stories that
Like,
you could tell, but we're
hesitant because
yeah.
you thought the first part was fucking out there. Wait till you hear this. There's Europe.
Yeah.
There's things called bean dips. There's butt stuff. There's just out of this fucking just whack shit, man.
The backdoor teen mom story was funny though.
Oh, you have to tell me.
Okay, so I remember Trey and I we were off work one night and we went over to our boss's Matt's place for a party he was holding, which is funny because Matt, in all the years that we worked there, he never held any parties at his place.
Well, that's because he bought that house.
Yeah, he just bought the place. They had a little pond, I guess, down the walkway from his place. Excuse me. So, we all go over there, and we're all hanging out, and whatever. We're having a couple beers, and we're chilling.
It wasn't a couple, dude. We were fucking sloshed. Well, I was at least.
You were, for sure, yeah. But I just remember, we had some beers in us at that point, and I remember... this is the time where Farrah Abraham, the backdoor teen mom, that shit had come out, and so I don't know how this came up, and Janelle Anderson was just yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I watched it, and if I'm being honest, it didn't look like she was really enjoying it. She just looked like she was just taking it in the ass, and that was it.
Such a casual conversation.
And we're sitting there, and we're having a couple beers, and we're looking at each other did you just say that?
Complete shock. Just shock.
Yeah.
Fucking 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink type shock.
Yeah, and you and I were just we saw it at the time, but, it was one of those, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, it's Pornhub.
When you have that post-nut clarity, and you're just what am I doing with my life? You're just should I feel good about this?
No.
Oh, God.
No, you should. But the best part of that party was, remember at the end of the night, because Matt only lived a couple of minutes down the road from me.
Beer.
Okay, so Matt, our boss, had a bunch of beer, and he's okay, well, you know what, guys? You guys should just take it home at the end of the night. I don't really drink beer or whatever. Just take it with you. You and I were looking at each other going
there were 4 or 5 cases of just beer.
And you and I were oh, fuck, alright. Free beer?
You didn't say, you have to pay me. He said, just take it. Right? So, we loaded up 4 or 5 cases in your trunk. There's so much booze. And then...
Thank God I only lived 3 minutes up the road.
Yeah. If we would have got pulled over, that'd be so weird to explain to a cop. But also, he was so pissed off the next day.
I remember that.
Beer. And it's you told us to, man. It's this doesn't make sense. Classics.
I remember that. Yeah, because he came to you and I, you're hey, why the hell did you guys take all my beer? And it's you friggin' told us last night to take it.
Yeah. No. So funny. Man, we gotta, get together another time, and we gotta, because there's so many more stories.
Yes.
That, right now, I'm stoned. A little drunk.
Shocker.
But, there's so many other stories that, we could do, another 2-3 episodes.
Oh,
of this
easy. Okay, let's talk about some of the cooks. Steph. Steph was one of those guys, I love working with Steph.
There was Tom, the conspiracy.
Oh my, Tom. Okay, so do you remember
the lizard people?
Okay, do you remember the time when Tom, and I worked one shift?
Oh my God.
And it's funny because Tom was
Was that the time you said
he was
could be our dad?
Tom was kind of homophobic.
Oh, yeah.
And so you and I, we were just joking with each other, like, hey man, let's be as homoerotic as we could be to really bog him.
Oh, dude.
And you were
just like,
you were going off, and I was just bouncing off, and Tom was looking at us going, what the fuck is wrong with you guys?
Did I ever tell you the time? Like, not only was he, like, very homophobic, and it was just so funny to make him feel uncomfortable with the shit we said, but, like, there was a time you talked to me about lizard people, and there was a time you came up to me one day. It was me, him, and I think it was Tyson or John Henry, like, in the pit, and he came up to me, he's like, don't worry, if, you know, the lizard people were to come, we wouldn't kill you. And I was just like, but he whispered it into my ear. Like, he whispered it while I was, like, over the flat top. And it was just like,
what?
I was like, excuse me? He's just like, shh. And just, like, walked away. And it was the weirdest fucking thing I've ever experienced. Then there was, like, Alex, who, like, lived down the road from me.
Oh, Santos.
And he was, like, he was a great guy, but he got to the point where he got so fucking weird. Like, he just... Because I wouldn't hang out with him. It's like, I didn't feel obligated to hang out with him. Like, yeah, we lived down the road from each other and we worked together, but it's like, he was just, like, somebody I was, like, you know, like, we're complete opposites. I mean, you know, we had retro gaming.
Yeah.
That's about it. And, like, he was like, yeah, like, I don't understand why you don't hang out with me. And, like, there was one staff party where he actually got mad and Christopher Williams had to step in between Alex. It was just like, what are you doing? He's like, I want to find out why Trey doesn't like me. And I, like, told him, I was like, I like you, dude. I just don't want to fucking hang out with you. I'm like, why is that so hard to grasp? Like, oh, it was just this huge thing, and it was so weird and creepy at first. You ever seen, like, T2? Where it's like, he's, like, running and he gets the hooks for the... like, that's what I thought was gonna happen. Like it was fucked. It'd be like Wayne's World. Have you seen this boy? Ah! Just fucking, like, peel out. Like, that's how I felt.
Yeah. You know, I remember about Alex is that, remember how much he used to simp on Noli?
Oh my god, and we told him numerous times, like, she's with someone.
Yeah, and I just remember, like, Alex would see Noli, and he's just like, hey, Noli.
Hi, Noli. Good times.
I remember, like, if I ever wanted to bug Noli, I'd just be like, hey, Noli.
Yeah.
And she would look at me, she goes, fuck off, Taylor.
Yeah, no, man. Like, so many good times. But we have to, like, do this again.
We do.
We have to. We got another 2 episodes at least.
Easy.
Fucking good times, but...
Such good times, man. I mean, honestly, what more can we really say on this edition, though? That's the only thing.
I don't even know. Like, it's one of those things that we gotta, like, sit back and think about more, because there's a lot. Like, there's a lot. there's, like I said, there's probably, like, at least 2 episodes of just bullshit that happened there. Ah, man. Yeah. But next time, tell you how someone burnt down the Pioneer House. Can we say that?
You know what's funny is that the Pioneer House restaurant that used to be there is now owned by, I think, like 360 Solutions and the Super Plumber.
Yeah.
My cousin works there. He told me about that. He's like, yeah, man, I used to work where you work. And I was like, crazy.
Yeah. No, this is that damn smoking. That's
God
another story.
Do you want to... Yeah, I was going to say, do you want to add this on this episode, or do you want to wait for the next one?
No, we'll do another one.
All right, fair enough. Well, that wraps up this edition of the Gr8Wyte Experience. Just a reminder, you can find the show on Twitter at Gr8Wyte as well as on YouTube. For this episode, I am your host, Taylor Gibson, and I will see you next time.